The night before the storm carried the taste of iron, wind dragged across the old pine forest, and the first drops of rain tapped on the lacquered armor of a lone traveler making his way toward a forgotten mountain temple. Lantern light swung from his hand, throwing trembling shadows onto the stone steps. He paused, inhaled the scent of wet moss and listened. Only the low growl of distant thunder answered him. It was said that on this mountain, long before the Warring States era flared to life, monks had carved their philosophy of inner stillness onto wooden tablets, then hid them away from warlords who sought to twist wisdom into power. Tonight, the traveler had come for these teachings, not for conquest, but because the battles within him had grown louder than any war outside. And as rain intensified, as wind whipped through bamboo like 1,000 whispering spirits, he began his ascent, unaware that each step would stir the dust of forgotten thinkers, whose words still pulsed beneath centuries of silence. He reached the temple gates at dawn, exactly as the storm softened into a grey mist. The world felt washed clean, as if nature itself bowed in quiet reverence before unveiling long-guarded truths. Inside the temple grounds, he found a monk sweeping stray leaves from the stone pathway. The monk's robes were simple, his hair tied loosely, yet his presence radiated an unshakable calm, as if the storm had never touched him at all. Without looking up, the monk said, "You carry the weight of too many unfinished battles." The traveler stiffened, unsure whether he should bow or question the stranger. But the monk smiled faintly, set aside his broom, and motioned for him to follow. They walked through corridors lined with faded calligraphy, scrolls curled like sleeping serpents, lanterns still flickering from the night. At last they entered a dim hall where 8 ancient tablets rested on a wooden altar. Each tablet bore the name of a thinker rarely spoken of now, scholars, warriors, hermits whose philosophies had shaped the unseen spine of Japan's stoic tradition. The monk touched the first tablet and murmured, "To master oneself, the old masters believed, was to face the storms that rage inside long before confronting the storms outside." And so began the traveler's learning, though what he discovered would soon challenge everything he believed about strength, discipline, and destiny. The first story came from a forgotten philosopher-warrior named Ishida Kushin, a strategist who fought no battles yet shaped countless victories. He wrote that self-control begins the moment you stand between impulse and action, that thin line where true courage lies. The monk told how Kushin once lived through the burning of his family estate. As flames devoured everything he owned, he stood calm, unmoving. A neighbor screamed at him to help fight the fire, but Kushin whispered, "I cannot save what is already lost. I can only protect what remains." And what remained was his mind, his clarity, his ability to lead others out of chaos. The traveler felt the words press against old wounds inside him, failures he tried to bury, anger he carried like a dull blade, scraping his ribs. He realized he had built his life around reacting, not responding, around clutching at what had already turned to ash. The monk saw the tremor in his breath and said softly, "Your fire is not outside you, it is within. How you face it decides whether it destroys you or forges you." They continued deeper into the temple, where a second tablet told the story of Lady Shuju, a noblewoman turned ronin after witnessing her clan collapse in betrayal. Her tale was rarely taught because she fought no famous duels, yet her discipline became the silent foundation of later warrior codes. After losing everything, she traveled alone across provinces, training her mind more fiercely than her sword. One winter night, ambushed by thieves in the woods, she defeated them not through strength, but through perfect stillness. She waited, breath anchored, heart steady, drawing her blade only when absolutely necessary. She once wrote, "The one who owns their breath owns their fate." As the monk recited these words, the traveler felt the subtle tremor of his own breathing, too fast, too shallow. A lifetime of reacting, rushing, tightening, Lady Shuju had survived because she learned to move only when movement mattered. In her restraint, the traveler found a mirror of what he lacked, the ability to pause, to see clearly, to choose. Outside, the storm clouds finally broke apart, letting thin beams of morning light drift across the temple floor. With them came the slow realization that stillness was not weakness, it was preparation. By midday, the monk led him into a courtyard where a single cherry tree grew, its blossoms long fallen. Beneath the branches was the third tablet, dedicated to Suda Hanjo, a swordsman overshadowed by legends like Musashi, yet revered among elite monks for his mastery of emotional discipline. Hanjor believed that anger is a blade without a hilt. No matter how you wield it, you bleed first. In an era when warriors glorified fury, he became known as the man who erased himself. Before every duel, he would sit quietly, letting rage rise and settle, until nothing remained but empty intention. In one famous duel, his opponent screamed insults at him, trying to rattle his composure. Hanjor simply smiled, bowed and disarmed the man without spilling a drop of blood. To conquer another, he later wrote, is nothing. To conquer oneself is everything. The traveler felt something inside him shift. He saw memories of times he let anger guide him, arguments ignited too quickly, regrets left smoldering, and for the first time he wondered what power he might hold if those flames no longer ruled him. By evening, shadows stretched across the wooden halls as they reached the fourth tablet, the teachings of a reclusive monk named Ringen Tansei, rumored to have trained alone in a bamboo forest for 30 years. Tansei believed that discipline was not repetition, but devotion, not chains, but liberation. He wrote that the world tries to conquer you by pulling your attention in 1,000 directions, and each time you give in, you surrender a piece of your spirit. To reclaim yourself, you must practice the art of returning. Return to breath, return to purpose, return to the present moment. The monk guided the traveler to sit beneath the cherry tree, instructing him to listen to the wind move through bamboo beyond the temple walls. At first, the traveler heard only confusion, rustling, snapping, overlapping echoes. But as he adjusted his focus, the chaos softened into rhythm, into unity, into something resembling clarity. Tansei taught that mastery begins when noise becomes signal, when distraction becomes discipline. As the traveler breathed slowly, the first genuine calm he had felt in years unfurled inside him like a blossom opening in spring. Night settled over the temple when they approached the fifth tablet, this one containing teachings from Kaibara Ekken, the revered scholar whose writings shaped the ethical backbone of samurai households. Ekken taught that self-command is built not in moments of crisis, but in the mundane rituals of daily life. How you prepare tea, how you tie your sandals, how you respond when no one is watching. The monk explained that forgotten thinkers like Ekken believed greatness was not lightning striking once, but a spark tended carefully every day. The traveler remembered how he rushed through his mornings, stumbled through his tasks, treated each day as something to endure rather than refine. Under lantern glow, he touched the tablet and realized true mastery was not found on mountaintops or battlefields. It was found in the quiet discipline of ordinary moments. He felt humbled, yet also awakened, as though a new doorway had opened inside him. From there they moved to the sixth tablet, inscribed with the teachings of a hermit sage named Kuroda Gentoku, a man so withdrawn from society that even in his lifetime, many believed he was only a myth whispered by travelers. Gentoku taught the philosophy of emptiness, not as absence, but as boundless potential. He carved into the tablet, a cup already full cannot receive. Empty yourself daily, or stagnate forever. The monk shared how Gentoku once lived beside a river, building and dismantling small stone towers as a meditation on impermanence. When asked why he destroyed what he built, he answered, "If I cling, I stop growing." The traveler felt these words settle heavily on his heart. He thought of the grudges he kept, the failures he replayed, the identities he clung to out of fear. Gentoku's philosophy struck him as both painful and liberating. To become more, he must first let go of what no longer served him. The river outside the temple roared softly in the night, as if echoing the ancient sage's message. As they neared the final chambers, the seventh tablet awaited beside a dimly lit altar, this one dedicated to Yamamoto Tsunetomo, author of the Hagakure, whose stoic reflections shaped centuries of warriors. Tsunetomo believed a warrior dies twice, once when his body falls, and once when he abandons his principles. The monk read aloud a passage, "Resolve is born when one accepts death, not the end of life, but the end of fear." Tsunetomo taught that fear is a shadow stretched by imagination, and the only way to defeat it is to walk through it willingly. The traveler lowered his gaze, recalling the choices he avoided, the dreams he postponed, the paths he never stepped onto, all because fear whispered that he was not enough. In Tsunetomo's stern wisdom, he found an invitation, a challenge to stop living beneath his potential, to stand tall even when trembling, to walk forward even when blind to what lies ahead. Finally, they stood before the eighth and oldest tablet, its carvings softened by centuries of wind and prayer. The monk said it held the philosophy of a thinker whose name had almost vanished from history, Shunrei the Silent, a sage rumored to have spoken only once in his life. No written record survived except one teaching: what you repeatedly bow to, you become. Some believed he meant devotion, others believed he meant discipline, but the monk whispered that the real meaning was simpler and far more dangerous. You become the habits you feed, the thoughts you nurture, the fears you let grow, the values you choose as your compass. The traveler felt the truth settle inside him like a final piece clicking into place. Every moment of his life had been shaped not by fate, but by what he silently bowed to: anger, regret, hesitation. Now he saw the path clearly. If he wished to become someone new, he must bow to new principles. And as lanterns flickered, as night deepened around the temple, the monk turned to him and said, "These teachings are not relics, they are invitations. The forgotten thinkers lived their philosophy. Now you must live yours." Outside, the storm clouds parted completely, revealing a moon that hung bright and full over the mountain. The traveler felt a stirring inside him, not excitement, not fear, but a sharp and steady resolve. He understood that mastery was not a destination, but a daily act of returning to his code, of choosing stillness over impulse, courage over fear, purpose over distraction. As he descended the mountain steps at dawn, a new storm gathered far in the east, yet he felt no tremor of hesitation. For the first time, he carried not the weight of unfinished battles, but the clarity to face them. And so the path you walk now mirrors his. You stand at the edge of your own mountain, your own storms, your own unspoken battles. You know the impulses that rule you, the doubts that drain you, the distractions that devour precious years. But the forgotten thinkers whisper across time. You are not bound by what you have been. You are shaped by what you choose next. Bow to discipline, bow to purpose, bow to the version of yourself you are becoming. Rise above the noise. Sharpen your mind until it becomes a blade no fear can dull. Embrace hardship not as punishment, but as the whetstone that refines you. Let the storm come. Let the world test you. Walk forward with the quiet fire of those who mastered themselves long before mastering anything else. The path of the modern warrior begins not with the swing of a sword, but with the stillness of a single breath. And when you take that breath, with full awareness and unwavering resolve, you step into the lineage of forgotten sages, monks and warriors whose philosophy lives now through you.